This just in. This is going to be a week 3 of the NFL in review, but before we get started, crazy news today in the NFL. The Tennessee Titans and the Minnesota Vikings both having to shut down practices because particularly the Tennessee Titans have had positive tests come back. This pandemic has been a bad one for everyone, but in the NFL, it's been kind of been able to test daily, keep them not necessarily in a bubble, but as much as together as possible without, have them going out and doing anything and then coming back and spreading it up until this point. So what's going on is they have shut down their practices. I don't know much more than there was 5 personnel, I believe, from the Titans and maybe 3 players or so. I could have that a little mixed up there, but from what I've read, they've had to shut down the Titans and the Vikings practices as of now. I don't know what else or how long until they can continue and, as they say, get the show back on the road. But maybe that's not what to be focused on particularly right now. I'm sure they're just wanting to make sure there is no other outbreak, and that's the main reason to shut down, and to make sure everyone else who has caught this virus that can get the help they need and quarantining back into lineup. So moving forward after that news, of course, the Miami Dolphins beat the Jaguars this week. The 49ers over the Giants 36-9. Quarterback Mullins getting the start in this one and having a 25 completion day out of 36 attempts for 343 yards and a touchdown. Shout out to the 49ers Cutback podcast, even saying, could there be a controversy there at quarterback? I don't know completely at this point, but if he can continue to do stuff like this, and Jimmy G's sitting back there like, boy, I better get back in there as quick and do as good a job, or he does come back and can't do as good a job. Well, we know in the past and from this year that Mullins can get the job done, at least when he's called upon. McKinnon getting 14 carries, 38 yards and a touchdown. And, I don't remember if he was completely hurt in this game or not, but I did hear something about his injury. Just riddled the Niners have been with injury. Hope he can get better if there was an injury there. I believe it was Reed who got injured. Jordan Reed got injured this week, and he could be out 6 to 8 weeks. That's what I read. So I hope Reed... Let's see if Reed had any stats in here. Yes, he had 2 receptions for 23 yards. So he must have gotten injured somewhere in between there. Haven't seen the full replay highlights on this one yet, but 36-9. Great victory for the Niners. Awesome. C. Jones had 17 completions out of 32 attempts and interceptions for the Giants, and just wasn't able to have a great day. Did Daniel Jones. The Washington football team losing to the Browns. The Browns winning 34-20. And let's take a look at the stats in this one. Haskins, 21 completions, 224 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but throwing 3 interceptions. That hurt in Washington. And again, let's take a look at Baker. 16 completions, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Enough to get the Browns the victory. And, not turning the ball over, big key in these games I've seen this week. We'll talk more about that with the Arizona Cardinals, man. That one hurt me this week, but that's okay. We'll move forward. Nick Chubb, 19 carries, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I got Chubb on my fantasy. Shout out to Chubb there. Beckham, glad to see that he's trying to get what he can in with the Browns and make it work. Odell, 4 receptions, 59 yards on the day. Jarvis Landry, 4 receptions, 36 yards. Again, the score 34-20, the Browns over Washington. Eagles, Bengals ending out in a tie. I got to see the overtime, at least the end of it, and unfortunately, the Bengals and the Eagles were just not able to get a score there at the end of the game, and kind of were playing it safe as well, punting it and trying not to give up what bad field position they may have had already. Sorry for the camera movement. And it ended up being, ended up in a tie. You're going to talk about how bad you want to win games, but you never talk about how bad you don't want to end in a tie. And unfortunately, every now and again, we have one or two of those a year. Sometimes we don't have any. Bengals and the Eagles, we ended up in a tie, 23-23 in this one. We'll move on from there. Actually, hold on. Carson Wentz, maybe we see Jalen Hurts here pretty soon, question mark. Let me know what you think there. Okay, Raiders, Patriots. I was hoping for the Raiders to be able to win in this one. That didn't happen. The Patriots were able to come out with the victory, 36-20. And not just a victory, but it seemed like the refs, I'm sorry, they were calling these plays. If it was any time that they could have an effect in this game, it went towards the Patriots' way. We'll leave it as that. If you want to leave it as that, however you will. But the Raiders didn't get no fair shake in this one. I'm sorry. They just didn't. Derek Carr, anyway, 24 completions out of 32 attempts, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Great day for Carr. He's having a great season so far. He's going to be passing up, they were saying in this game, as the Raiders' all-time leading passer. That'll be a record he gets in touchdowns, I think, or something like that here soon. I don't know if it was yards, I think it was touchdowns. So, all-time leader here soon. Derek Carr will be for the Raiders. Rushing, Jacobs had 16 carries on 71 yards. And then Cam Newton, 17 completions out of 28 attempts, 162 yards, a touchdown and interception. Newton also had 27 rushing yards on 9 attempts. And then Michelle, 9 carries, 117 yards. Burkhead, 7 receptions, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Burkhead also had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Burkhead diving in the end zone there a couple times. You got to give the Patriots their credit where it is, because they still have a lot of talent. I just didn't like the fair shake. I felt like it's hard enough to beat a team, but then you got to play the refs too. I'm sorry, I just felt that way. Yeah, I was rooting for the Raiders in this one. Okay. We'll move on. Bears, Falcons. The Bears over the Falcons 30-26. For time's sake, we'll just say Nick Foles is now the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and they got the victory in this one. Shout out to Nick Foles. Mitch Trubisky was having a pretty good season so far. He's had difficulties, but it almost felt like they were waiting for that moment, and they were down. They brought in Foles, and Foles came out with the win. That's just how it went. That's how they're going to be moving forward, is with Nick Foles. Rams didn't get the win in this one. They were really, really down. They tried to come back against the Bills, but the Bills still able to come out with the victory in this one, 35-32. Josh Allen just throwing and running over everybody. For time's sake, we'll keep it moving forward. Steelers over the Texans 28-21. The Watt brothers getting to all play together in this one I believe it was the first time they all got to be on the same field. The 3 Watt brothers in this one. And the Steelers and the 2 Watt brothers over JJ will have the bragging rights for now. Moving forward, Titans over the Vikings 31-30. And again, just hoping that everything will be okay moving forward, and that these guys can get back into the lineup. But overall, the Titans still doing a great job with their season. And let's take a look at their Yeah, see, the Titans are 3-0, and the Vikings are 0-3. So, this is not hurting the Vikings right now as much as it's hurting the Titans to not be out there practicing. And plus, it was their players that tested positive. So, something to keep an eye on for now. We are 10 minutes into this thing. I'm trying to cut it down. Last week we went for 30 minutes, which was great to know that we can go that long. But for editing purposes and the fact that we just don't have a big audience right now, I'm going to keep it moving. Panthers, Chargers, 21-16. Panthers, they're doing a great job. The Chargers, you could really tell they're trying to do better. The Chargers at 1-2 right now. Panthers at 1-2 right now, getting their first win in this one. But 21-16, the Panthers over the Chargers in this one. The Jets not having a great season. The Colts, this is their first big win of the year, 36-7, but they have had another victory, so they're 2-1 now. The Colts are. The Jets 0-3, still looking to get one. I believe they're playing Thursday night. They're playing the Broncos Thursday night. So the Broncos-Jets Thursday night. The Jets trying to get their first win. We'll move it. Keep it moving if I can find where we were here. And the Seahawks over the Cowboys, 38-31. This duel between Dak and Russ Wilson. Prescott just got the short end of the stick, mainly because of the interceptions. Let's take a look at the stats, because Russell Wilson, I believe, had 5 touchdowns. Great day, but Dak Prescott, 37 of 57 attempts, 472 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. What was the major difference between Russell Wilson and his stats? Well, 27 of 40 attempts, 315 yards, so not as much yards, but 5 touchdowns. Really should have been 6 if Metcalf, gets over the touchdown line. I have Metcalf in my fantasy. I had him in my starting lineup. That one hurt, but they did get it back. But 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. No interceptions, the big one. Dak, I feel for them and the Cowboys. So the Cowboys 1-2, the Seahawks 3-0, by the way. Before we move forward, I feel like Dak is an elite quarterback. But then again, you give him the surrounding he has had, and you question why can't he get the job. Why is it always that the Cowboys fall short? I don't know what it is. I hope they can find it. It's not just the beginning of the season. And I honestly thought they handled the Seahawks a little bit better than we all did. At least, I was surprised. I felt like they could have come out with the victory even in this one. And I wouldn't have been too shocked if they did. And they almost did it. He just wasn't able to outduel Russ as it was. Lions, Cardinals, this one hurt me because I really thought that there was no way the Lions were beating this one. I even had a video saying the reason why you can't beat the Cards, something like that, So it's like, okay, I look stupid, but hey, the Lions with their big win, 1-2 now, the Cardinals 2-1. What happened in this one? Matthew Stafford, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And what happened with Kyler Murray in this one? 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So yeah, I was saying before there were some games. Well, this was the main one I was talking about because I really watched the game a lot. Kyler Murray, being my quarterback in my fantasy and all. And then, of course, I did the video on it, between him and Hopkins. And they did get the ball to Hopkins a lot. And so 10 receptions of 137 yards. But did they find a way maybe to stop him on the ground? Kyler Murray only getting 5 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown. But then again, when you're in a closer game, maybe you're passing a little bit more. Then again, when you're throwing 3 interceptions, I don't know. The Lions, hats off to you. And in that one there, proving me wrong there. Broncos losing to the Buccaneers. Tom Brady able to get another victory. Gronk able to get some catches in there. I want to read his stats because he's been silent this year. Brady going for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, almost 300 yards in this one. Jones the second, 53 yards. Let's see here. Gronkowski, 6 receptions, 48 yards. And no touchdowns, but it was nice to see Rob out there still a part of this offense, and after the first 2 weeks being so silent, only having 2 receptions up to that point, none in, I believe it was last week's game. So it was good to see Rob out there being active and a part of this game plan. Packers, Saints, the Packers over the Saints 37-30. Aaron Rodgers and the Saints put on a show, and you know what? Aaron Rodgers and the Packers came out with the victory. 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions for A-Rod. And let's take a look at Drew Brees. 29 completions, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So it just really came to A-Rod's team had the ball and scored more in the fourth. See, it was 7-3, 10-10, 14-10, and then 10-3, 37-30 total in that one. Packers 3-0 now, and the Saints 2-1. Are they 1-2? Let's see here. Yeah, no, they fall to 1-2. The Saints do. Packers 3-0, the Saints 1-2, and so that one really hurt the Saints there. It did. And then Monday Night Football last night, the Chiefs over the Ravens 34-20. Patrick Mahomes, the second, throwing 4 touchdowns, 385 yards. This guy reached 10,000 yards, I heard, and the youngest to do so. So shout out to Patrick Mahomes, the second. I guess his mom didn't appreciate people calling him Patrick up there in the Monday Night booth, so I'm going to refer to him as Mahomes, or Mahomes the second, or Patrick Mahomes the second. And, being a second myself, hey, I understand. You are who you are, and last name mainly. And if he has taken that second off, then even Mahomes would suit, I guess is what Moms is saying. Just not Patrick only, okay? Moving forward, Patrick Mahomes II also had 26 rushing yards on 4 attempts for a touchdown. And get this, 20 carries for 64 yards for Hilaire. Wow. Lamar Jackson, 9 carries for 83 yards, but just wasn't able to come up in the victory. Only had 97 passing yards, had 1 touchdown. And 34-20 again, the Chiefs 3-0, the Ravens 2-1. Ravens getting their first loss in this one. And you have to feel like you're just praying that there isn't any more positive tests moving forward for this pandemic and virus. And forgive me for not saying the actual C word, because if you do, YouTube will hear it for somehow and block your videos from being seen. So I don't want that to happen. Like, subscribe, try to get this out to you soon, and hopefully we can continue to talk some more football, and if we hear anything else on the Titans and Vikings moving forward, or any other teams, and when they will be able to continue, we will be back on air soon. And thank you. Bye.